Hey, this is Sam Duke,
And I'm Joe Duke.
and we are here to check on you. You good, bruh? This is a safe space for men to express their emotions.
We are here to bring you a new definition of manhood, one topic at a time.
Let's create a new generation of men that are emotionally aware and that are ready to improve these relationships. I know I'm trying to get good.
I'm trying to get good.
What about you?
You good, bruh?
It is You Good Bruh. This is Sam Dupe.
Joe Duke.
Ben Dupe in the building.
All the dupes. The dupe trio is in the His Naive Chris Naive. Today's episode is brought to you by the same thing the last episode was brought to you by. The Blackberry Wine, Sin Nudes Wine,
And Pinot Grigio.
I
don't know the brand.
And I know you
Grigio.
guys may think that we're big balling because we're saying the show is brought to you by some shit, but we actually don't have sponsors. So if you would like to sponsor us, just let us know. Like YouGoodBruhPodcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, if you want some wine, tell us your favorite
The only reason
wine.
we're saying they're sponsoring us is because we're drinking this while we're talking, so they're sponsoring some of our
Yeah,
comments.
they're sponsoring our spirits.
Yeah, our spirits are sponsored. Today's topic, the thing we're talking about.
Fuck you, Dad. I'm just joking.
No, bruh,
I'm just joking. This is not a dad bashing.
It's not. Well, I
not
mean,
a dad
I don't know what it's going to be. To be honest with you, all right. So today's episode is about daddy issues. When you hear the term daddy issues, you usually hear it from the perspective of women. You know,
absolutely.
You'll hear
Absolutely.
women have daddy
Absolutely.
issues, right? Like these girls out here. Where's her daddy at?
Yeah.
Where's her daddy at? Why she acting like that?
Absolutely.
Where she a hoe? Where her daddy at?
Where her daddy at?
You know, but there are dudes out here
There's dudes.
that are affected directly by not having fathers in their
father.
lives as well.
It's tough.
And it has created. There are fatherless men out here, men who have grown up without fathers, and now they are men themselves, and they may even be fathers themselves as well. So you have there's a generation, and you're listening to a generation right now of three men who have grown up without a father, and I'm going to assume before we even get into it all the way that we have three totally different perspectives, and three, we'll have some things that we think we have some things that we'll probably think is similar, but we're also we come from different places. We're different ages. We grew up differently. Mm-hmm. Some of us have seen our father more than others, so it's
Absolutely.
there's that aspect to it. So I would like to start it off by just asking, what is y'all last memory of your father?
That's a
The
wonderful question.
last thing you remember about your father.
Mm-hmm. Well, with me specifically, my last memory with my father was I was probably maybe 8 years old, 7, maybe probably not even that old. He stayed in an apartment complex not too far from where we stayed. I remember me and my sister, we was at his house. He had his I guess his girl or
His new bitch.
Oh, however you want
That's
to
what I'm
call
gonna
her.
call her. His new bitch. New.
But yeah, I just his wife or whatever, ex-wife or whoever she was, she had cooked the meal for us, and I just remember it was me, my father, his girl, and my sister. We was all sitting at the table, and we were just trying to, we was eating some sauce pois. You know what I'm saying?
Rice
That's
and
rice
bean
and bean
sauce.
sauce.
Yeah, please translate. All right, and I just remember that he was telling my sister to stop making noise while she eats.
Yeah, we were all there, bro. But go ahead, continue. Yeah.
Basically,
What do you mean by making noise? Go ahead and elaborate,
you
please.
know when you have a regular plate of rice and you have a fork and a knife.
A glass plate, by the way,
Absolutely.
not just a regular plate, a glass
And
plate.
He was a classy
Literally,
nigga. Classy nigga.
Her scooping up the rice irked his soul. And it was just crazy to me.
Oh my
He was
God.
And
a house-
I remember
he was
he
a
told
house
her one
nigga.
time, he said, stop making all that noise while you eat. In Creole, of course. And, you can just see the confusion on Esther's face trying to figure out how can I eat without making noise. when I have all this silverware and these plates. It's damn near impossible. So of course, with an impossible mission, you're going to, make the noise again.
Yeah, it's a fucking glass plate.
Absolutely.
And a metal spoon.
It's a booby trap. It's a booby trap.
Yeah.
How do you not make noise while you're eating rice of all things?
Absolutely.
It's not like you poking chicken.
Exactly.
You're talking about scooping rice with the fork. Anyway.
Yeah, so, of course, she made the sound again. And when I tell you, he beat her like she stole something. Like, that is literally the last time I said, because I remember when my mom came, she was just like, this is it. Like, the relationship that you would have with your dad is over at this point, because he basically beat your sister, because that's not even, and I believe in spankings, but get out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he beat your sister for no reason, basically. So, and I couldn't do nothing but agree with my mother, like, so, and that was literally the last memory. I have 2 other memories, but that was the last memory of, me seeing my father.
Joe?
Oh, last memory, I have 2 memories, but I'm going to give the best one. The last memory I had of my father
Thank you for your positivity.
was when my mother went to his house to go on, I'm guessing income tax came up, right? So he had to give my mom some money for child support. And we pulled up to his house. She made me go to his house. Actually, she was like, Joe, you go over there to this house to knock on the door and tell him we're here. So I go to the door, knock on it. And of course, he had like 10 kids in the goddamn house. There was a lot of kids. I don't know who they were, but it's a lot of people on my DMs talking about, we're brothers. And I'm like, wait, hold on now.
As an adult,
brothers.
we're going to get to that, man. We're going to get to that. Let's just stick to the last one.
Brothers.
We'll get to that. Oh, my God.
But when I pulled up to his house, he gets in his truck, right? It's me, my brothers, and my sister in the car with my mom. And he says, follow me, right? So I'm guessing we're going somewhere where he's about to cash a check or something like that to give my mom some child support money and whatnot, right? So I think it was about a couple miles away, but this nigga rode past every red light that was known to me. He ran past every red light. My mom was confused, but we was in that car. It was like the wild thornberries in that bitch, man. The car was bouncing like he did not want to cough that bread up. That's all I know.
He did not
want to cough that bread up.
I mean, he was driving so
he was out of hand.
Wow.
He was out of hand. We was in a safari.
Mind
was
you,
in a safari.
I've never heard this story before.
Oh,
so
This is in Atlanta. This is in Atlanta too.
This
The
was
roads
in
was
Atlanta,
good.
yeah,
The roads was
yeah.
good that time.
This is hilarious.
Man.
And we was riding through those. He was going past them red lights like it was green.
Basically, he was trying to skedaddle.
And he
did
treated
not.
the green lights like it was red.
He
just
did
wanted
not want
he just
to
want
give
NASCAR.
that
NASCAR racer. Shout out to my dad.
Shout out to you, brother.
Turn up all the way.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Out of
yeah.
hand.
Okay, so my last memory of my dad is probably the last time he saw any of us.
Yeah.
He brought Esther some shoes. He brought my sister some shoes. And he came up to the apartments that we were living in. And mind you,
Highland Club?
Highland Club.
Hey, shout out to Highland.
Yeah.
Shout out
Candler Road, Flat Shows.
Hey, Decatur.
Yeah,
Look, the nigga come out.
Amen.
Oh yeah, we're like, damn, we done flipped it up.
What zone is that? Zone, whatever that is.
But
Zone, nigga. Wrong zone, nigga.
So he, mind you, he's if you listen to the other 2 stories, you know he ain't shit. But he ain't been shit for the most part. Every once in a while, he'll come up, years will pass, and he'll decide, I want to, be in your life real quick, right? But the problem with him being in your life is he instantly wants to be the authoritarian.
Oh, man.
And we're talking about, at this point, I was 10 years old. Esther was 11 going on 12.
I probably was 10 years old, too.
Joe was 9 going on 10. Me and Joe were born the same year, so, that's neither here nor there. But, so he came and he brought Esther some shoes. And he did not like what Esther had on. And because he didn't like what she had on, He told her to go in the house and change. And at that point, you know, like I said, he ain't really been around, and we're ghetto kids now. That's what we are.
I think it was her birthday.
It was her birthday. He was bringing her something, but at this point, we're 4 ghetto kids. You know, and I don't mean ghettoism like is less than, but we're growing up.
They were more ghetto than me.
Whatever. We're growing up in almost a project like situation. All right, and you know we're like, bro, like Esther was like, no, like I'm not going to change for you. You know, she getting 12, she's smelling herself. You know, she's smelling herself, and so she's like, I ain't changing for you. You know, like no, and he like cocked back and just smacked her.
With the shoe.
With the shoe. Yeah. He's out there just smacked her.
Oh, I do remember this.
And then I was just like, man, you're not going to fucking hit my sister. That's what I remember saying. Like,
Sam started biting his calves.
You're not going to fucking I didn't bite his calves, but I was like, you're not going to fucking hit my sister. You are not our dad.
Facts.
You haven't been around. You're not our dad. And then he basically, he said some shit in Creole, probably cussed us out, whatever, and got in his car, and he zoomed off.
Wow.
And that was the last time he ever came in contact with us.
Yeah, we sold those shoes for like $35.
From a family perspective, I don't know how much we spent.
We went to the Candy Lady. Or not,
but
we went to the Candy Lady.
But we that was the last time he was seen. Okay?
That's the last time I said. If you have seen him, tell him.
If you have seen him, tell him go to hell.
Tell him to come to this podcast.
No. All right, look. All jokes aside, although he's never played a role in our life, his absence played a role in our life. Okay, so my question to you guys, and I mean, I don't necessarily know the answer to the question, was like, what about his absence played the biggest role in where you're at? You know, what about his absence played a role in where you're at now? Because you're a man now. So
absolutely.
What about it every once in a while you see is like, man, you know, if I had this.
Yeah.
You know, if I had this.
Absolutely.
You know.
See, now, for me to answer that question, I got to look at it as far as having a good father. I mean, honestly, based on the stories that we just said, we were better off without him.
You know, that's what I was thinking. Everybody was thinking. I was saying everybody was thinking.
I'm going to answer that in the question if I had a good father. If I had a good father.
Because I know people like,
okay,
exactly.
Y'all want this nigga?
Exactly. Like, keep that man.
That's what y'all care about.
Exactly.
Hey.
Y'all want this nigga?
So I'm going to answer that question saying, what am I missing if I had a good father? And one of those things I feel like I think it's multiple things, but one of those key things that I feel like I'm missing was like there's a few things. Like I said, structure. Structure I feel like was one of my things. I feel like I was one of the kids. I feel like I needed that. I needed to understand that I need to be able to hold myself accountable. Just know how to carry myself as a proper man. You know what I'm saying? Because don't get twisted. Go ahead.
Just to add a caveat to this, I feel I want to make it clear that it's not that our mom gave us no structure.
Absolutely.
It's just that because of the position that she was in, you know, there were times we kind of, when we got a little bit older, we ended up kind of raising ourselves. And so
because she had to work a lot.
Because she had to work. She has 4 kids that she has to take care of, and then she doesn't necessarily have any kind of real assistance, and she's not one of those people that is. Her plan was not to just sit on government assistance, and so she bust tail. So because of her circumstance, it caused that the structure couldn't necessarily be the way that we needed it to be. And so I want to make it kind of clear that that's not. He's not saying that because, you know, she didn't instill structure. It's just that because of the position that she was in as a uneducated immigrant that can barely speak the language, and
she's a citizen now, guys.
Yeah, she's a citizen now.
Ice not coming.
We've come a long way, but I'm talking about at the time. Yeah. At the time, she was, you know, you're talking about middle school educated, with 4 kids, and is working minimum wage jobs, and so you can imagine what that means and what kind of position that we're in. So it's not that she didn't want, like when she was around, there was structure, but
Absolutely.
she can only be around so much. 2 and 3 jobs. We had to take some responsibilities on early.
The other thing too is like, because these are things that I feel like later on in life I had to learn that like Sam said, like my mom did the best that she can, but she can't pick up on everything. It's just not possible. 4 kids, better know how to speak English, working 3-4 jobs, like you just can't. It's not possible to make sure to cover your kid in 360 degrees. It's just not possible.
Yeah, it's just it's difficult. It's difficult.
You know what I'm saying?
Even though you try, you get babysitters. You have people that help out. It's never going to be like your own. They're never going. It's like that you can only do so much to try to instill what you need when you're missing a piece like that.
Another thing, knowing how to control your emotions as a man. I feel like that's something that I lacked. It's something that I had when I grew older. I had to learn. I had to learn that you can't just get so mad at things that the smallest things. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do that. That's just not cool. Another thing is like following through. I feel like that was one of. It's not saying my mother could not have taught me those things, but I just felt like as a good father in a household, I feel like a good father, especially as a young man or a little boy, a father teaches their son how to commit and follow through with something that you said that you were going to do. And if you want to look at it, it all falls underneath structure to me. But I just feel like those are the key things that I miss. Like, my mom taught me nourishing and loving. I know how to talk to a woman. I know how to do all this. I know how to value, appreciate
a woman. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that, I feel like that's the same thing with me also. I feel like I'm super emotional as a man. Like, of course, like when you're out and about and you encounter other men who have like male influences in their lives or like a father figure or whatnot, you start noticing that you're more emotional than they are. And you're just like, why am I always like at this point where I'm just like, oh.
Absolutely.
Maxwell song.
Absolutely.
But like, Sam, do you feel as if like it took the same toll as it took on us, like on you?
I think, especially from the emotional standpoint, I think I had anger issues. Like I grew up with serious anger problems.
And that definitely falls on the emotional.
Dude, I used to, and I was one of the better students. You consider me one of the better students.
He was a good student, but he was bad as hell, though.
But boy, and because I was so good as a student, I would blow tests out the water. I made a perfect score on the ITBS one time, like 99s across the board.
Yeah, I don't know about that ITBS.
But, yeah, I don't know about the ITBS. That's back in the day, the Iowa test of basic skills. I damn near, I blew that thing out the water, right? But I had some behavioral issues.
It was bad with you too.
Bad. I trashed a classroom.
Wow.
Because they gave my teacher, one of my favorite teachers, Miss Connor. She retires this year.
Shout out to Miss Connor.
Shout out to Miss Connor.
Shout out to the good ones.
When I tell you, she, I did some dumb shit in class, and she gave me silent lunch. And what silent lunch was, you would go get your lunch and you go back to the classroom. You would eat it in the classroom by yourself. And the class would eat with the teacher. I was in the classroom alone. And I was so pissed that one of my favorite teachers put me on silent lunch that I flipped every fucking desk. I'm talking about every fucking desk in that classroom. When everybody came back from lunch, Miss Connor was like, "Get out of my classroom." And then of course, the class came in like, "What the hell? What's going on?" Like, there's a bunch of 5th grade kids like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, I didn't give a fuck. I'm going outside, and so I go outside. I'm standing outside. She comes out. She was like, "You're such a smart kid. Like, why are you so angry?" Like, she was just like, "Why?" Like, I've never seen this level of anger from a kid. Like, because I was I was she'll tell you to this day, I was one of her favorite kids. And she was just like, you were just so angry for no reason. She's like, you don't have to be angry. And she was like, why? I was like, because I don't have my dad.
Wow.
You said it at a young age.
I said it, I was in 5th grade. I was
it
just like, I don't have my dad. And that was just, and I didn't, I was just expressing myself because she really was the first person to ever ask.
That really cared.
Yeah, that really even gave a damn. Because
Yeah.
I would get, I get into fights. Things would happen. And even at home, I would get so upset and so mad that I'd have to be by myself for long periods of time. And that anger was me being really mad at not having a father. And so, when it comes down to emotions, point blank, it wasn't until I think that was the moment where I realized I can't be mad. Not to say that I dealt with the issue.
Yeah, you just understood.
I just realized that anger was not the solution to the issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was an angry kid. And still, of course I had challenges growing up into adulthood, even still to this day, where, my anger can get the best of me. But that, I think that was one of the things I carried with me.
And also I feel as if when you're a kid and you're raised without a father, it's kind of sort of because it's imbalance in a sense. You try to understand because right now at my age, I'm about to be 30 years old in a couple months. And at my age right now, I'm trying to understand in certain ways I'm acting. Is it because a father wasn't there or is it something else? Because I was bad as hell at school too, but I couldn't read good. You know what I mean? So that's a difference. I couldn't read. So I would love to say the same thing you said, but I couldn't read good.
Well, that was a different struggle. That's a different struggle.
At first, I felt as if my dad could help me read, but he's fresh off the boat too, so he wasn't going to read anything.
No, reading without.
Dad, you should have helped me read, but he wasn't going to do it. He'd make me read backwards. But honestly, when it came to me getting to where I'm at right now, I think to myself, what ways have it affected me? Been talking about structure. Definitely was big. Me, when it comes to time, man, time doesn't exist for some odd reason. And I don't know why I'm like that, but I feel as if a male figure in my life really dominating over that aspect of my life would have definitely allowed me to respect time a little bit more.
And you know what's crazy? Just listening to y'all talk, Ben says structure, Joe says time management. Me being the oldest brother, I kind of inserted myself into a role that, it was more of I need to take care of my family. And I was one of those kids that was really close to my mom. I took it different. I took it I have to be on time. I have to be structured. I took it okay, because I don't have a dad, my goal is I don't want nobody saying that's why he is because he don't have a dad. I took it on. You took on the challenge. You took on the challenge of being the older. Just in case you guys know, Sam is the oldest boy, right? Yeah.
So Sam really did take on the father figure role in our family because he's the oldest boy. And another thing is my mom. We got to think about the situation. My mom, fresh off the boat, she's busy, dealing with other things that she got to deal with. Her English is harsh and whatnot. So it's he is basically that person that's in her life that's basically assisting her get through.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I was younger, because I was the oldest boy, I would take on things. I would register everybody for school. It was to the point where I knew all of everybody's social security numbers. Everybody, I would go and I'd be able to register everyone without any even documentation. Because I was I became and I hate to say it like this, but I think this is the way people can understand it. Mexicans.
Mexicans.
Mexicans. I hate to say it like that, but Mexicans, they do the same thing.
They have
their kids are usually the person that comes with them to the bank. The kids are the person that comes with them to register because their parents just don't speak the language. and they either haven't been here long enough or whatever the case may be. They just don't speak the language, and so there's that barrier.
People don't understand the Haitian process.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But people understand like the Mexican process.
Yeah, I
way
mean,
better.
exactly, because immigration experience there are similarities.
Yeah, a lot of similarities.
And so because of that, I was that and on top of that, I didn't have my father, so I was that person that it was like, okay, my mom. I wrote all the checks to pay all the bills from the point that I was like 7, 8 years old. I knew how to write a check at 7 and 8, y'all. Full balancing checkbooks. And when my mom had side hustles,
I still don't know how to write a check. I'm 26.
But yeah, like balancing checkbooks and when my mom was doing side hustles like Avon, I was writing up receipts and doing all these things. And so I think it's one of those things that even just not having a father made you grow up faster.
Mm-hmm.
I
wish my sister was.
It made you just grow up.
I would like to hear what
we gotta bring her. We gotta bring her on because there's a lot of issues that were had that she could kind of shed some light on as well. But what we'll do this time, we'll focus as men, and next time we'll focus as family. Just from a masculine standpoint, the little things is a lot is what seemed to be the bigger thing.
And another thing also that I realized, even though I'm 29, I feel like I experienced a lot of different fathers in a sense. Because it's like, how they have the baby's kids type of thing when they say, "Are you my daddy?" Sam started off the episode like that. "Are you my daddy?" It's the same thing, but you don't say it because your dad wasn't there. But you look onto every male figure, whether it's positive or negative, and you say, is this the way a man's supposed to be? Is that the way a man's supposed to be? So you have so many different outlooks on what a man is.
You watch fathers very closely when you don't have a father.
Very closely. Friends who have fathers, you pay close attention
I
to
paid
them.
such close attention to my friends that had fathers. Like, not necessarily my friends, but I would pay close attention to their fathers. And even sometimes gain really good relationships and really good friendships with their fathers. Like, I literally would do things.
But Sam used to love Timothy's dad.
Oh, man, Tim's dad, man.
Shout out to Tim's dad.
Hey, man.
Big Tim. Shout out to Big
That
Tim.
old school Lexus or something?
Hey, look, we rode around in a Corolla.
Oh, Corolla.
But in a gold Corolla. But
yeah, it was gold. It was
it
Lexus
was
to us.
it was a Lexus to us. We had a Toyota Tercel. Not like really, really old, but yeah, like that's a great example. Tim's dad, like when I tell you, there was one that was Tim is my elementary school best friend. We're still cool to this day.
Shout out to Tim.
Shout out to Tim. But his family basically took me on. It took me. I would go everywhere with Tim. We'd be from baseball practice to after school. They would take me home. I would watch how his dad was, how his dad treated him, and those type of things, and we gained that. Yeah, admire it, and you gained a relationship. Mm-hmm. There's others. There's a bunch of others, that we gravitated to.
Shout out to granddad.
Oh man, my grandfather. That's the GOAT, man.
That's amazing.
GOAT.
That is the man that stepped in the gap.
Oh, man,
if he wasn't there, I'd be sagging my pants right now. I'd be sagging my pants right now. No offense to those who do.
I mean,
I know I would.
but really though, you're talking about when we fight and we trying to knock our heads off, man. That's the person that my mom could call while she was at work because she's at work. That could come and just say, "Hey, look."
She gave him a lot of whooping vouchers.
Yeah.
Man.
He whooped my tail, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like he was there.
Absolutely.
The presence met everything.
Absolutely.
The presence met everything, and even in talking about that, like thinking about the last thing my grandfather told me. Mm-hmm. I told you I had anger issues. The last verse he gave me was a verse I think is in Joshua or something, and I'll look it up later. But he said you got to be slow to anger. Mm-hmm. Slow to anger, because he noticed. He was like, even when I was doing things in church, we were having beef, whatever the issues were, he would notice. He was like, Sam, you get to angry too fast.
That's a fact.
And he was like that the anger, and he preached to me because he was a pastor of 50 plus years.
Facts.
He said anger is the reason why Moses never saw the promised land.
Wow.
And he said you won't ever see the promised land if you don't learn to be slow to anger.
That is powerful.
Dog, I walk with that.
It's like
I walk with that.
You're it's like you're self-destructing, but it's like you're doing it on your own.
Yeah, you're doing it. Yeah, it's you. It's you. Yeah. And even just thinking about that small.
It's like you're sabotaging your own growth.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah, that's what it is. And
like the spy.
And when you think about small moments like that, just small things, not big things. You think about small moments like that. You ask yourself, how much more could I have had, right? Because he wasn't my dad, he was my granddad, and I would see him sparingly, and so you're like, damn, like if I had somebody here to teach me, because growing up I learned, and this is another thing, the job of the man, and it's not to say that women don't have responsibilities as far as emotions are concerned, but the job of the man is to keep the emotional level of his household at a certain space.
He's a stabilizer.
That's his job.
I like that.
And I think I believe it's just nature. It has nothing to do with.
I like that.
It's not good or bad that women can be considered more outwardly emotional, not necessarily more emotional, more outwardly emotional. Meaning they speak their emotions, they put their emotions in the atmosphere.
You good, bro? Moment. That's the you good, bro? Moment. Keep going.
And so, because the job of the man is to keep the emotion level at a certain space, it's an issue that I can't control mine. That becomes a bigger issue.
And it's a lot of people out here.
Or I couldn't. I'm getting
with
there.
That too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like remember on a previous episode where we was talking about men and them not being able to control their emotions, and this plays a huge role with the father figure not being alive because he's not you. Even if your father don't tell you what you should be doing as a man, you're watching all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're watching.
You see him. You have an example, right? You have an example.
And when he's not there, it's like you're basically chasing after the wind. You're just looking at every man, and you make a lot of mistakes looking at men who do it wrong as well.
You're chasing the ghost of the father that you want.
Ghost of the father that you want. That sounds like
it's a
movie.
ghost. You don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you're chasing a ghost. It's like
because I feel like that's kind of because we was like how are we without our dad, and I was like, well, what I thought about was the dad that I could envision myself that could make the best of me possible. You know what I'm saying? So I completely understand what you're saying as far as that.
And even like just to switch it up a notch, right? Even when you take it to like a simple form of like the importance of a father being there, like I ain't gonna lie, I know how to wash my nuts, man. I would just sit there, let the water hit me, and I just be like, I'm cool. I get out and I'm still in class, and I'm like, hey, what's that smell?
Oh my God,
it's following me everywhere.
Woo!
It's like I thought it was demons and shit. Like from a simple perspective of just like hygiene.
That boy Joe Draws was really pampered.
Oh my God,
hey, man.
Really
no, but I mean, you laugh,
simple.
but you think about it though, like with women, girls get their periods and
Absolutely.
all of that. It's like those are things that sometimes, like my mom probably had no clue that Joe was walking around here stinking.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Only
but
meek. It's cool.
But what's that, like the thing about it, you're getting up, you telling your mom you're taking a shower, but but it's like those little things that is like. Could be prevented, right? Or not necessarily prevented, but he got insight on because he got nuts.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, got some nuts.
I guess, from a simple standpoint, like those are the things.
Yeah.
But I want to go a little bit. Let's expand a little bit because we already talked. We said our papa wasn't shit, right? But I said I don't know about y'all.
He wasn't
shit. But
he wasn't shit.
He's a Rolling Stone. How has not even knowing how many siblings you had
Facts.
played a role in just your mental, bro? Like that's your mental health.
I mean, I don't think it necessarily,
Or just your health and like your thinking. Like what does that do to you?
I don't, because like I said, I don't really know too much about him. I don't know, so it don't really like do anything to me. Honestly, I don't know. I can't actually answer that.
I got to answer because it's something that I think about all the time, and I also tell my girl this all the time too. I'm like, I'm not gonna be like my dad, and this is why I'm very like like a lot of ways that I am, like I don't have no kids or nothing like that, but I'm big on not trying to repeat the cycle. You know what I mean?
Well, okay.
I'm big on that. You know what I mean?
In that sense, I can understand that.
Because it's too many siblings. It's too many siblings from what I've observed. Like, it's a military out here. Like,
Yeah, it's a
hey,
gang
you got
of them.
last name Dupervil, just pull up. We chilling.
Look, Facebook is probably the worst thing that ever happened
Man,
to
I'm
us.
trying to tell you.
We
man.
get friend requests like every week or so. Like,
But
of
like
some-
we
of a
do
new-
want to get to know y'all guys. But
No, we don't. Not me.
I'm about to say,
I don't, and it's
I
not.
don't
It's
know about
nothing
me,
personal. It has
Yeah.
everything to do with your father.
Look, man, my hands are full, bro.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
I
got a
don't.
lot going on right now.
I just don't have the emotional capacity.
I don't got it.
Well,
I
I
don't
do
got it.
because I'm searching for more of like lineage. I want to know history. I want to sit down and have a conversation. That's really what I want. It has nothing to do with nothing else besides like me trying to understand
To each his
where
own.
my background. But to each his own.
Yeah. I'm gonna push back on what you said about not being like your dad. Okay, the reason I'm gonna
that's
push
what I was
back about
talking about,
that is I have kids now,
Yeah.
so there's things that I see in my children that they don't even know. I'll give you an example. Growing up, I bit my nails. That's what I did. Like I bit all of my nails.
All the way to the
I don't do that anymore. I'm grown, but when I was a kid, I would bite my fingernails, my toenails. I would nails in general.
How you bite your toenails?
Bruh,
That's the most
nigga, I
important
was-
question.
He used to
I
bite
was
my
flexible,
nails.
bro.
He used to bite my nails.
I was flexible. I bit
no,
nails.
it's the truth. He used to
it's
bite
the
my
truth.
nails. This
It's
is
the
no
truth.
lie. He used to bite
No bullshit.
He used to
This
bite
shit was
my
weird.
nails.
Goodness.
But what
That's
I'm saying
serious.
to you is,
I'm the youngest for real.
Hey, ask me why I did that. Ask me. Go
Because
ahead.
you're
Ask me.
Coping
nasty,
mechanism.
I have no clue why I did that.
Coping mechanism.
I have no clue. Okay. Now I have.
You a bad
I have.
mother?
Now I have twin daughters. Right. I have twin daughters. Oh,
He make twins.
I have two twin
make
little girls,
twins.
and they're 2 years old. One of my daughters bites her nails, bites her toes off all the time, and she does not know why she does it. In her reaction, I remember her. Like I'll tell her, take your hands out your mouth because it was told to me so many times, and her reactions were the same reactions I used to have. I ain't doing nothing. She'll leave. Like if he's sitting next to me and she's biting her nails like on the couch, I'll like take your hands out your mouth. She will get up and go upstairs and go sit in her bed and bite her nails in peace. Because
Hey, I gotta have my piece.
And that's just one aspect. There's another. My other twin daughter, she has another thing that I do that I don't even know why I do. Soda cans. When you pop the soda can, the little tab at the top,
You break it.
I break it. Right. My other daughter, she breaks the soda tab and she puts it in the can like I do. She doesn't know why she does that.
Yeah.
That is something that she just got from her dad, right? And so what you say, I don't want to be like my dad. There are a lot of things. First of all, you don't really know him enough. Second of all, there are a lot of things that I'm pushing back to say, look, don't focus on just not being him, because there are parts of you that are innately him, and that's
With the without you,
with the
regardless.
without what's in your brain, with the without what you think. There are parts of him that are you.
That's you. That's why I really try my best not to dip and dabble too much.
Dip and dabble in
You
what?
can't dip and dabble in women, dip and dabble into too much things that you feel like is similar to what your heritage, in a sense, has done. You know what I mean?
You're just gonna contribute to your own self-destruction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I seen what
That's
he
it, really.
did, and I'm not looking at it like it's anything, but I also feel as if you become depressed at such a young age.
You know what? And I'm glad you brought that up. You want to know why? This is something I kind of, you just go through things in your mind. And I started being depressed because the innate things that I have that I feel like are a part of me that he's given to me, right? Genetically. I hate those things.
I like the good looks though.
We
looks are
good looking,
cool. I like
good
that.
looking
I like
guys.
the good looks. I ain't
But
gonna lie.
it's not really about the looks. It's about more so in the back of your mind. It's like he created me. He played a part in creating me. Yeah. So that means a part of him is me, and I hate. Well, for me personally, I hate him. I don't like him. I have forgiven him, but I don't like him. Okay, and so because I don't like him, there's parts of me I don't like on the inside. Yeah. Do y'all get that a little bit? Like it's like
I see what you're saying, but I feel like I felt that way. I used to feel that way, but I feel like right now, like where I'm at right now, I feel like he just hated himself. You know what I mean? Like anything, we're diamonds. You get what I'm saying? So it's like for you to like look at a diamond and look at a diamond like it's trash. It's just like, in a sense, you look foolish. And I look at him like he's foolish right now because I could picture him being scrawny, old, wishing when he sees me, he gonna wish he would have kept me. You know what I mean? In a sense. That's why I view. That's why I want to talk to him. I still want to bam him. Just because of my mom. I want to bam him for my mama.
He said you still deserve this.
Oh yeah. It has nothing to do with me. No, it has nothing to do with me, the reason why I want to bam him. It has more to do with the pain my mom went
like
through.
Smoking.
You know what I'm saying?
Shall follow you all the days of your life.
Because when you take things to much more of a logical perspective and you take your emotions out of the equation, you really say, I really didn't even know this dude. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the way I think. I said I didn't really even know him. I want to ask some questions about, like, of course, like what I just said, my lineage and stuff like that, and histories. And I want to know history. But besides that, like, I just want to bam them.
You'd be better off.
And that's it. We can hug it out.
It's like, leave these hands.
And I'm going to record it because I got to give it to my mom. I got to send it to my mom because my mom will like that. But besides that.
I appreciate you saying that our sister should have been in this conversation.
Absolutely.
Because there are a lot of issues that just came along with just now that, especially now that I have daughters, I didn't see growing up because I was a kid. We're kids, but there's roles that fathers play in daughters' lives that can affect them in tremendous ways.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In tremendous ways. Even just waking up every day and seeing my children and being able to say, "Hey, Nadia, look at me." Say hi. I say, my name is Nadia. She goes, my name is Nadia. I say you're beautiful. I'm beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Say you can do anything. I can do anything.
This man Sam's household is like DJ Khaled when they wake up.
Oh, bro, it's
straight like
my nigga. The thing about it is not, and it's not to say a woman couldn't instill that in their daughters, right? But there is. Women date their fathers. You know what I'm saying? Like women are looking for a man that's like their fathers. That's typically there was I feel like there was conflict a lot in our house because of the confidence that my sister needed. Like there was a lot of times where we just had issues and we didn't know where these issues came from. Right?
We're gonna do a part 2.
And we would definitely do a part 2 and kind of try to see if we can break it down and at least just talk about it. Sure, she can come in here and we can talk. But it's like there was a lot of just conflict that was in the house that could have been remedied had we known, had we just been able to say, what, because as brothers, bro, we was hell, man. We were hell.
Oh, man.
We were hell,
and
man.
I feel like we go through the same thing. We all went through the same thing in a sense. Like when you talk about low self-esteem, depression, like women go through the same things, even though we view it like you're supposed to look up to your mom. What you over here worrying about dad not being there? That's what the men's supposed to worry about, But in all honesty, like, it's about balance. Anyways, it's always been about balance.
Yeah.
Always been about that. Like, you over here, you're a cub, you're a lion cub or whatnot, and you sitting here, you like, look at my mama, she out here hunting and stuff like that. Where my daddy at? Either way, because I still need to see the rest of the story. You know what I mean? But when you only have half of the story, it's so difficult.
You feel incomplete.
Yeah. And your parents are not going to tell you everything because, honestly, it's not even their place to even... It's not your place for them to tell you everything. Honestly, it was their relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's their relationship. They're never going to tell you everything.
They'll never tell you.
It's their privacy. Okay. They have that.
As far as relationships, because you brought it up, how has that affected your relationships?
I felt like in my, I always do long-term relationships. I feel like in my relationships, I really try my best not to screw too much. I don't want to do too much sex out there, but because I don't want to, because I just don't want to be like my dad. You know what I mean?
I don't want no sex.
Yeah, I don't want to be like my dad like that. So, I really try to do long-term relationships and stuff like that. But what I've seen in my past relationship, I've seen that I was overly emotional in my past relationship. And that affected the way she viewed me in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, she viewed me as like I'm supposed to be the one that's supposed to be super emotional. You super emotional. I'm going to protect you, nigga. You know what I mean? Instead of you protecting me. And it does something in a relationship when a woman feels like she can't really fall back on you and count on you to protect her. Like the same way when we was kids, in a sense, in the reverse.
Yeah.
Like even though our mother was our mother, and we knew she was our mother in the hierarchy perspective, we still looked at her like we were supposed to protect her.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's
chihuahuas.
boys. Yeah, as boys. I'm like, we're gonna,
straight chihuahuas. But that's where when it comes to your mother, because you look at like my mom, she's working hard, she's doing this, she's doing that. But when you talk about like my relationships, it was the exact opposite. I just felt as if like it was, in a sense, it was a lesbian relationship. Because I wasn't being the man at all. You know what I mean? I wasn't being the man at all. You know what I mean?
What you say? Y'all was kind of playing the same role.
Yeah, we was playing the same role. Like, hey, baby, whatever you want, I got you. You got me. You know, like, it was just so emotional. It was overwhelmingly emotional, and to the point where it led to destruction. In a sense, like
no balance,
no balance at all,
no balance.
But I feel like in my new relationship, I seen something that I went wrong, and I was just like, hold on. I got to get back to the essence of me and who I am. So I had to sit there and analyze things. I had to sit there and try to break down all the different equations that I felt like would build me up and to make me into a complete person. Honestly, I feel as if even being raised by a mother taught me something that a lot of men who were raised by their father don't have, which is emotion.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So in a sense.
And a part of why we on this podcast may have to do with that too.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it saved me in a sense, being emotional, because it's easy to be like dominant and be that all that stuff, but when you talk about emotions, it's hard to tap into that.
Anything in excess can be bad. So overly emotional is what you said. That's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
You know, anything overly done can be an issue.
It was bad.
Yeah, like, I mean, for me, I would say, one of the biggest things, trying to break the cycle. I just feel like that was one of my biggest things.
Man.
Like, you know, trying to make sure that you start that family and make sure that you still be that family's backbone, whether you're there or not. You still got like.
It's a family.
It's a family.
Like,
it
doesn't make a difference.
It's like mob ties in a sense. Like, even so, you still have to make sure everybody's good. Because,
gang.
You know what I'm saying? It's definitely gang.
Yeah,
it's
once you start a family, it should be gang.
Yeah,
Like, it's like,
and that's one thing that I hate about, like, when people get divorced. Like, they turn it into like such a disgusting thing. That's like, I can't look out for you no more. But you still have my kids and this. Like,
Monica said something on the Breakfast Club that was so dope.
You said who?
Monica. Okay. She said. She was like, how you with somebody 20 plus years and have nothing good to say?
That's crazy.
Well,
that's crazy.
It's like, that's crazy.
That's
have
the
nothing
devil.
good to say. It's
that's
like,
just the devil.
Yeah, it's like, it should still be gang.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just, you know, it just didn't work out the way we wanted.
They're breaking families apart by doing that too.
Yeah.
They're breaking families apart. And that's a bad part about this situation.
Like, for the bigger thing for me, like I said, it was just like the whole, breaking the cycle. Because I just feel like, especially in the African American community, and how like we're just suffering with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
man.
It's like a virus.
Yeah, man, this shit's crazy, man.
It's identity crisis. There's all different reasons why, but
of course,
we talking about to this specific reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's unacceptable to me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, man,
you gotta take care of your family, man.
I'm here with you, man.
You gotta take care of your family, bro.
I am here.
What you think, Sam, as far as like men in general, like who's been in the same position as us? How do you feel as if like they should be able to handle their fathers not being in lives? Like, what are some steps you feel like would be some good steps for them to like do?
I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm gonna answer the question before that.
Absolutely.
Okay. From my standpoint in my relationship, the biggest issue I feel like I've had is not being able to see a healthy relationship. Like, I've never seen a real, like, my mom, bless her heart, she never really after my father left, never really had any real boyfriend or fiance type experiences. She
never
kept
had
to add
She-
another imbalance that we probably
man,
didn't
she
need.
kept. When I tell
You know
you,
what I'm saying?
she did not play. She didn't bring a bunch of men in our house. She kept it what it was. It was all about protecting her children.
Absolutely.
But because I never saw a functioning relationship, the biggest issue I've had in my relationship is an inability to bounce back. Because relationships, when
Takes a toll.
things are good, it's easy. Like
Yeah.
it's
Bro, it's so easy, bro.
it's so
Cruise
easy.
control,
it's flowing. It's cruise control. You know,
about.
it's not a whole bunch of issues.
Mm-hmm.
But when there are issues, my wife came from a 2-parent household. She's been able to see the ups and downs. And so she's able to know, like, oh yeah, we're just down, but we'll make it back up.
Yeah.
When we get down, I be wanting out.
You want to
When
quit.
I tell
I be
you,
wanting.
I completely
backpedal.
understand by what you mean. Me and my girl, we are the same way.
Oh,
She's 2-parent household.
Yeah.
You can tell
she
understands how to
exactly.
bounce back. It just
She gets
like,
it.
It be
It-
like we was just about to
But-
kill each
but-
other 5
but
minutes
she-
ago.
but she see-
and
you
now
see-
you rubbing my back.
But you've seen
Like,
you've seen your parents do it. You get what I'm saying? Like, cause when I talked to my wife about it, she's like, well, I've seen my parents. Like they, oh, you think it was all, there was times where we was just like,
That's
damn,
a
like
fact.
it's not going to work. But they were able to bounce back. So I see that it's possible.
Yeah.
And then when I realized, I was like, yo, I can't bounce back. Like I would be in a funk because I cannot bounce back.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, it was just understanding that that's one of the reasons why I couldn't bounse back, because I'd never seen it.
You and Ben are so similar.
Yeah, I mean,
You
me and Ben are, we're very alike.
These guys,
We're very alike.
I feel like they had
always actually.
Yeah.
and we all grew up together, but I feel like they had a dad somewhere that I didn't know about. They didn't tell me about the dad.
Secret.
Because they so macho and shit, and I was just like, where'd y'all
Bro,
get this from?
But we're not macho. I guess
They hit our dad
Far
away
from
from
it.
me.
Yeah, definitely far from it. But that's the one part of it. That's my relationship aspect of it. Now, this is something that I had to talk about in counseling. It's something we have a couples group I had to talk about, and a way of getting over or starting to work on healing whatever it is that you're dealing with dad issues. Number one, believe it or not, you have to forgive them.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have no choice.
Oh, yeah.
You have
Oh,
to
yeah.
forgive him.
Oh yeah.
But and it's not because you think he's a great person. You have to get to the point where you forgive him, because what Will Smith said, the hate in your heart will consume you too.
It would consume
All
me.
it will hold you back.
It will hold you back, and because you want to move forward, you have to forgive him.
And don't forget, you're stuck.
Second thing that I learned, and this was something I learned from a teacher that was just talking to me, and she was just like, you have to empathize with him. And empathy is understanding his situation.
And why he even did it.
And
As
understanding
disgusting
that
as it
you
is.
don't know everything.
At all. That's true.
You don't know what his father probably did.
You don't know what his
mother
father,
probably
you don't
did.
know how he was raised.
You don't know nothing.
You don't know. I mean, I know I don't care for him.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you don't know how he was raised.
Absolutely.
And even within your parents' relationship, you don't know what happened there either.
Exactly.
And it's not the fault of your mother's or whatever, because clearly she did what she could with what she had. It's not to say, oh, my mom's holding out. Like, that shit doesn't matter because he's not here. But what you have to understand is, especially this is something I actually, before I had kids, I wouldn't have never said this. But now that I have kids, and even though I can't empathize with him on leaving his kids, 'cause I could never, like that's the part of it that I'll never understand. Okay? The leaving your kids part. But what I can empathize with is that the job is hard.
The responsibility. Yeah.
The responsibility is tough. The interaction is tough. There are times where you just need a break. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
And so I would say, you know what? I can, even if we can share that little piece where I can relate to his, whatever it was that caused him to be the person that he is, empathizing with him at least it frees me in a sense. It frees me in a sense to say, you know what, I can see why it's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is not meant to have kids.
It's tough.
Everybody's not meant to have kids, and that's the second thing I would do, and the third thing I would do is chart your own path. Because a lot of times we're stuck trying to chase that ghost. We're stuck trying to we're stuck trying to say, okay, well my friend's dad was like this. This person's dad was like this. I wanted to be like this. This is my mentor. It's like, create your own lane so that way you can judge yourself by your own standards.
I hear that.
And so that way you're not chasing something that's unreal, and you're not letting yourself down.
I hear that.
And so those are three things that I've done that have helped me get over the hurt, that are even making it so that I'm having this conversation and I thought I'd be crying by now, but I'm not. It's like because I've taken those steps.
Yeah. I
have, been in rooms when I'm talking about less than a month ago, I was in a room and I was talking about my dad and I was crying. And so it's I think when you start to do the work and start to, to really take a look at yourself, I think that helps you move past that, man. I think to wrap up, because we're an hour deep down here. Already?
My goodness.
Already.
Hour.
To wrap up, man. Joe, I think you said something at the beginning. I was like, okay, we're going to end like this. You said you want to see him. What will you say?
Well, if I seen him, I would definitely say, like, I'll bam him
No.
Because we just got an icebreaker. Straight icebreaker. Icebreaker.
He said, I got to get the one first.
We got to do the icebreaker.
No. Say it. Say what you would say.
What I would say to him after
He's in front of you right now. Say it.
I would probably say, do you know how hard it was for her? Because I feel like in life, I got an understanding of a lot of things. Like the same way you was talking about as far as like the responsibility was tough. Because you could see the pain in my mother's eyes. So it's like I already know the kind of responsibility it took to raise us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like that's something that I had to go to sleep with all the time and sit there and think and ponder. And I was just like, you're a weak person. You know what I mean? You're a weak person, but it's fine because he understood that. Because he never came back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He knew he was a weak person, which is fine because everybody here is not strong. But honestly, the only thing I want to say to him is like, what's grandma on your side like? And I would ask some questions about that. But as far as like one thing that one thing that I really want to focus on, because like I feel like I dealt with these demons. I already dealt with these demons to the point where it wouldn't bother me. But one thing that I'll say to dudes out here that's going through like the similar situation is like, yeah, you're going through depression situations. You're going through, self-esteem issues. You're probably doing drugs and stuff like that. You feel inadequate, all types of things. But honestly, if you reverse it, it actually makes you a stronger person once you figure out a way based off what you hear during this podcast. If you use some of these methods that Sam or Ben was talking about, use some of these methods, you accept it. You understand and say, hey, the responsibility was tough. This ain't for everybody, but that doesn't define who you are. And in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't define you at all. Honestly, I really feel like if I looked at him dead in his eyes, I'd be like, man, you made me a beast. That's how I look at him. I was like, you made me a beast. It's poetic. You know what I mean? Poetic justice. It's justice. Because I don't feel like we would be the type of dudes we are right now and be able to sit here in this podcast and even talk the way we talk if you wasn't there.
But I just want you to understand that, you are a special case. Because there are some people who don't have their fathers, whatever. And
they slice it next. They slice it next.
They're up through there.
Oh, but they need to understand, like, it's okay. We call that life. You know what I mean? Like, Sam was talking about this. Me and Sam was talking about this yesterday. We call this thing life.
Yeah, that's what
even if you have a father, we already said it in the beginning. We trashed this man bad. If he was there, you probably have your girl in the headlock right now.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
but real shit, like we sit here talking about we want an example, but he beat our mom.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's like that would be the example you would see, right?
I would hate to see what he would have did.
Yeah, it's like
in front of me. You know,
it's
that
like-
shit scares me
So,
personally.
you know,
Yeah, we definitely would have
I mean,
swerved on him.
to be honest with you, that ass whipping he would have got
swerved
with
on him,
with
bro.
3 boys,
Oh,
that
man.
would have been anyway. That's another story.
And he would have bought us dinner.
All right.
After that, but,
we
you know,
done
we ain't gonna-
killed that nigga. for sure.
Before I
you
touch
know.
on my point,
Yeah.
I just want to say like one of the things about like, you know, starting to understand about things that you're, you know, what you're missing from your father. You never, it's like one of those things that I had to figure out. Like, you don't want to like discredit your mom for what she's done.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Queen.
exactly.
Queen.
But you
Your
know,
Majesty.
understanding what you're missing, like from your dad and all that, it plays a part in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta understand your mom lacked in a part of you, but it's not her fault though.
No, it's natural.
It's natural.
It's
You know
natural.
what I'm saying?
That's a
And you don't want to discredit somebody who went so hard for you your whole life. Still to this day, still go hard
no
for
man,
you. You know
no
what I'm
man.
saying?
Hey, look, Queen.
Yeah. So I feel like that's one of the biggest things as far as like, you know, young men trying to understand what we're missing. From our
Looking
fathers
for
and
your father or looking for the thing inside of you that's missing based on you not having a father does not mean the other parent is inadequate.
Yeah, exactly.
It does not make them inadequate.
Exactly.
That means you got,
Yeah.
instead of 2 people on your side, you got 1. As long as you got
Exactly.
somebody on
Yeah.
your side, you know?
And to get the original question, I just want to know why. You know what I'm saying? Why? You know, hey, whatever your answer is, that's your answer.
I feel
But
like
just
it's
know why.
obvious. The why is
I don't-
real. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
The
know.
true
But that's true, that's
answer,
true,
Not,
that's
not,
true. Nah.
not the watered down whatever you
That's
want.
true.
I'm talking about like actually like let me like if I could ask this him, if I had one wish or whatever to ask him this,
Yeah.
and he has to actually answer this in depth
Yeah.
and like actually take his time with it to unpack it. That's something I'm asking. Like you know what I'm saying? Why? You know,
That's
not
good.
on
That's-
no BS stuff. Like on some other stuff.
What you think,
That's
son?
good. I think I don't know if I would ask him anything because I don't really feel like I need anything from him. I would tell him a story. Like that's what I would
You
do.
tell him a story. That's a good
I
story.
tell him a story, man.
That'd be a good story.
I tell him a story
Hell
about.
of a story.
Yeah, I tell him a story about a family he left for dead.
That's
That's
the
right.
Yeah, if I tell him a story about a family he left for dead that he didn't check on, that he didn't, you know, make sure that he didn't play his role in. That came a very, very long way. A family that he abandoned. That banded together through what he did. That was able to take the necessary steps that they needed to do to live life the way they needed to live it.
Poetic
and-
justice.
And I would also tell him that we living damn good now.
That's a fact.
Old man,
We living damn good now.
old guy.
We went through the fire, and we don't look like what we've been through.
Man, I'm gonna hire him to make up my
I
butt.
like
And
that,
when,
actually.
and when I tell
I like
you,
that.
when I tell
Write
you,
that down.
it's biblical, brother. It's biblical. When the hand of God is over you, you will walk through fire and you will come out unscathed.
I hear that.
And although everything that he put us through could have cut us and left marks, we don't look like what we've been through.
I hear that.
And then I'd be done.
That's it.
He would know. He would know. At least he know the story, and he can live with it.
And then I come behind him and bam him. Take him for that. Not for me. Hey, shout out to E40.
Hey man, shout out to my mom.
Shout out to E40.
E40, raise some G's, man.
You hear me?
This was a great episode, man.
Awesamito.
I think that we are good. I'm good. Joe, you good?
Man, I'm good, Ben. You good?
Hey, I'm good.
We are good. You need to get good. Thank y'all for joining us again. And if you have any questions that you want to send to us, we'll answer your questions on the podcast. YouGoodBruhPodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. We really want to know. Subscribe. All right. Give us 5s on Apple Podcasts. Thank you.
Come mess with a real one.